What it is, what is up, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's a wrap, aka UD here, and I have a lot to discuss. So let me not waste any time. Let's get into it. This is a wrap up of my recent reads, but also just a catch up because I have some books that I want to share. I want to talk about what I'm currently reading. There's just a lot of bookish things that I want to discuss. I was thinking about breaking it up into a separate video, but I think I can do this in a reasonable amount of time. So let's start from past to recent. Let's start off with some books that I picked up at Wine with Writers, which was last month. I'm now recording this in July, and at the end of June, I went to Wine with Writers in Baltimore. It was a lovely event, and I had such a good time, and I picked up some books that I've had my eye on for a while, so I was very excited. I'll just have the event in the description. But yes, it was a beautiful event, and I picked up some books, so I'm going to share those first. So first, I pre-ordered some books from Takerra and also I was praying that she had some of her older catalog there as well, and I'm so glad she did. I picked up one, An Affair in Munthill, from her, and I've already read this book, and I feel like I talk about this book on my channel like every other business day because this is one of my favorite from her older catalogs. This is one of my favorites from her. It's like just a nice, to me, I mean, is there still some drama? Yes. But overall, is it like my favorite romance from her? Yes, it is. Okay. And then I got Needful Noor. I've also already read Needful Noor. It's a two-parter. I got Needful Noor. I think I'm holding book 2, but it's not that different from book 1. This is another one of my favorites from her. I've already read, and I was just like, I need a physical copy. I need a physical copy of this book, Needful Noor. Noor just took me through it as a character, but this one is a page turner. Needful Noor and An Affair in Munthill are probably the two in her catalog that hold a special place in my heart. If she had the Lonely Pole, I probably would have picked the Lonely Pole, but she didn't have the Lonely Pole. I'm just glad that I can now add these to my shelf. I picked up Joliet from Lyse. I'll just pick it up now, but I already finished it. The second I got the book, as she was signing it, I was just like, you don't understand. Like, I'm about to be in my bed reading this book. I'm so excited because I was usually, as soon as her book's released, I'm usually on it and I read it. This one, I was just like, I know I'm about to get the physical book at this event, so let me hold off and wait until I get the physical book to read it. And once I got it, I was in there. So that I'm just going to bring up in my wrap up. From Jacinta Howard, I picked up When 40 Blooms. This is the only book from hers that I picked up, and I wish I had picked up more, but I had to practice self-control, guys. I had to practice self-control. Joan, Vassar, I picked up Black, the first book. This is a series of books, and I believe this is the first book in the series. This is historical fiction. I actually own the audiobook. I'm pretty sure I own the audiobook for this. I know in the past, I think it was Unfortunately Francine, which I couldn't really get into. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't get into Unfortunately Francine, but I've heard nothing but good things about Black, so I'm excited to get into this one. And then from DLY, I picked up The Never List. This one I think this is the next one on my list of like, I'm excited to read it. This is going to be my next bedside read. One thing I really regret, we've been talking about this for forever. I have Topaz, the hardback from Beverly Jenkins, and I forgot to bring the book. I forgot to bring the book, and I also had another Lyse book that I wanted to get signed that I forgot to bring. I just forgot to bring my books that I wanted to get signed. I was so upset with myself, and I could have probably ran back home. The event was only like a couple of minutes away from my house, but I didn't turn back around, and it's okay. It's okay. Beverly Jenkins is lovely in person. Actually, all the authors were lovely in person, and again, seeing them in conversation with each other was lovely. Being in conversation with other book lovers who've also read the work was just a beautiful event. It was a very well organized even with the rain, because it was raining that weekend, even with the rain, like, I can't even complain. I can't complain. I had such a lovely time. There was so much warmth in that space, and it was just really lovely being there in community with those people. So yeah, if they do it next year, I'll definitely be there. Okay, so let's get into what I've read since my last recent reads. So I have 7 books in total. And hopefully this won't be too long because, girl, I got some things to say. I listened to the audiobook for Strangers by Belle. And this one is one of those books alongside Yesteryear that has been getting a lot of press and media attention, specifically because Belle is part of the Vanderbilt family, which at one point was one of the richest families in America. They are no longer, but I'm pretty sure that their wealth is from the trains, from building the trains across America. That's, I think, where a big portion of their wealth comes from. But anyway, Belle, it comes from a wealthy family, and she's telling the story of her divorce from her husband and the things that she learns at the demise of her marriage, which comes to her very abruptly. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. I listened to the audiobook and the way she reads the audiobook in this very like monotone, detached kind of tone. Like, she's just like, this is so sad, and I can't believe my husband did this to me. And the way she's reading it, it seems like detached from the situation that she's in. But also, this is also happening during COVID, and there's like this back and forth between her going to New York City and Connecticut. Is it Connecticut? No, it's Martha's Vineyard. They run off to Martha's Vineyard to leave the chaos of the pandemic that's happening in New York City. And it's interesting that they're in Martha's Vineyard in this home, this like isolated, quote unquote, perfect picture that she's kind of feel like she's painting, like, oh, her and her family all together in Martha's Vineyard in this home, and pretty much it's all a lie. And she has to really rethink, like, where did I miss the signs that my husband could potentially do this to me? But did he acquire a significant amount of wealth while in this marriage? Yes, he did. And did she lose her wealth? Yes, she did. And I think that's the main point I guess we can take away from that book. And that for the sake of being married to this man and creating this quote unquote perfect family that she felt like her own family growing up she didn't have, that it was to her own detriment. But yeah, that book, I think I gave it a 3. Yeah, I definitely gave it a 3. But also, she tried to make this seem like this man was somebody that she didn't know. But as we're reading the book, we're all like, it was giving that he was going to do this. So he was a little bit controlling, and he was holding on to his ducats and his coins. And he was very much aware of his own ducats and coins this whole time. And he was living in La La Land. But, we live and we learn, I guess. Okay, so the next book I read is Loved One by Aisha Muharrar. And this I read, was it for June or May? It was for book club. This was a book club read. And I did pretty much an immersive read. I read it on my Kindle as I was listening to the audiobook. At some point, I don't know if I really care for the audiobook. At some point, I just ended up just straight up reading the book because, I don't know, I felt like I was having a better experience just straight up reading it than trying to listen to the audiobook. But this follows Julia and Gabe. So they're friends they meet in Spain during this like summer program, and they have this like summer fling. And pretty much by the end of the summer, Gabe is like, hey girl, I don't think we should be together. I want to go be in a rock band, and pretty much we should break up because I don't want to commit to this relationship when I know that I want to go to this band and go be a star. So she is really never the same after that. So she ends up going to law school, moving to California. And after law school, she ends up running into Gabe again. And from there up until the present, they're friends. And they have this like she's dating people, he's dating people, but it never really seems to work out. And they never acknowledge the elephant of the way that their relationship in Spain ended. Okay, so in that, Gabe passes away. Gabe is in a bathroom. He slips, he falls, and he doesn't make it. He has a fatal fall. And Julia is going back through their relationship and the relationship that she had with Gabe. And in doing that, we learn about their final moments together, and also, you know, everything was happening in Gabe's life and in her life and so forth. Like, we learn the dynamics of their friendship in their life. And that's all I'm really going to give away. I actually really enjoyed this one. It was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't really on my radar, but I was into it, you know? I think I gave it like a 4. I'm pretty sure I gave it like a 4. There's a girlfriend that Gabe breaks up with right before he passes away. What is her name? Elizabeth. Her name is Elizabeth. And that relationship, or the way that Julia and Elizabeth come together and how they kind of go through their own grief, and they have both these different sides of Gabe that they know. It was quite interesting, and how they kind of negotiate what each other know about Gabe, and also how they kind of find comfort in one another through grieving the loss that they have of this person that each of them loved in this different way. But overall, I really loved one, and I will recommend, you know, for the literary fiction girlies, I think you would enjoy this one. Okay, the next read, Yellowface. I listened to the audiobook for Yellowface. I think this book was popular maybe like 2 years ago. If not, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before last. So Yellowface is by R.F. Kuang, and I think it's Athena. Is it Athena who passes away? No, okay, yeah, Athena is the one who passes away. So June is friends with this really popular Asian writer named Athena, and June is also a writer, but she's not having as much luck or notoriety. Her book pretty much came out and flopped, and they're friends, they're acquaintances, but June is pretty much jealous of the success that Athena has had. So Athena passes away while June and her are going out, and when she passes away, she had just shown June this transcript of this book that she is working on. So June steals the transcript, you know, does some editing, finishes off the book, and releases it as her own. And some crazy-ish ensues as the book becomes a hit, and she's dealing with the fact that she pretty much stole this work, trying to keep the lie from coming to the light. Okay, this book tackles a lot, like, I guess, diversity and how publishing deals with authors of color within the industry. June, and how she was unlikable in like a funny way to me, like a funny awful, if that's the best way I can put it. And by the end, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really care for the ending, like, after everything we went through. But I also still think it's an ending that I still need to sit with. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I would give it a 4, probably like a 3.5, just because after everything we went through, that ending, maybe a 3.75. So the next book I have is There's Only One Sun in Hollywood by Rasheed Newson. This one I got an ARC for, and I read on my Kindle. And this is Rasheed Newson's second novel. His first one is My Government Means to Kill Me. Which I really enjoyed. And I really enjoyed this one too. I did. So this one is, I think it starts in like maybe the 20s or the 30s. But it follows this character, Aaron, and he he has always loved film. He, as a young person, he worked in the theater, feeding in the roles. And from there, he ends up working in the Navy. And in the Navy, he meets, I think it's Horace, and they have this relationship, okay? And he's well respected, and so much that he gets offered to do this film. And from there, they go to Hollywood together, and, he gets swept up in the world of Hollywood. But he's also is gay, and this is the time of McCarthyism. I'm pretty sure it's the time of McCarthyism and, the Red Scare, and Hollywood is heavily regulated and policed by pretty much the government. So, so there's a lot of things that, the biggest thing is that Aaron can't come out and say that he's gay. So he's living in the closet, and there's also plenty of other people in Hollywood who are living and navigating Hollywood in the same way that he is. And in this story, he meets a rising star, Xavier, and it pretty much follows their story and their, the way that they're navigating Hollywood as Black gay people within the space. Oh, I hope I gave a good summary. I was trying to give a good summary without spoiling the book because so much happens. And the way there's only one scene in Hollywood, for me, this is only my second novel. This is only Rasheed Newson's second novel, but this read like a movie. Like, there's only one scene in Hollywood read like very cinematic to me. I could see the characters and the build of the drama, and I was engulfed in this world and in this universe. And another thing that has happened between these two novels is that there's this mix between the fictional and the actual historical figures that were living during this time. And the fictional characters, they're so seamlessly blended in with the lore of these actual historical figures that I have to ask myself, were these actual characters? Was this film real? Did this really happen? Like, the fictional versus the reality becomes so blurred that all of it feels so real to me. I had such a good time with this book. I would probably give it, gosh, I want to give it a 5. My mind might change. Right now it's a 4.5. It might be a 5 by the end of the year. Don't be surprised if it ends up in one of my favorites of the year in my end of year wrap-ups. But I really enjoyed this one. I have to go get the physical copy. And yeah, this book took me through it. It really went through all the emotions. It was like a roller coaster. I deeply enjoyed Aaron's character. And also, like, My Government Used to Kill Me is like the 80s, 90s. And this book is mainly like in the 50s, but Aaron's character kind of 50s, 60s, and then Aaron's character kind of lives on into the present, but also just like getting this world of being a queer person, especially a gay man during this period, and how this experience is placed within, we're dealing with the world wars, and it's the way that they frame Hollywood in conjunction with the state of the United States and the way that it's being governed and the way that queerness is being governed. And how we get to the present and how the young people are interacting with the experience of what the older Aaron, as this older queer man, has gone through. It's like, there's just, for me, I came to the end with some more empathy and some more understanding than I did at the beginning of the book. That's all I can say without giving away too much. Okay, next one, I had the physical book. I got this from the library, Palaver by Bryan Washington. I read Family Meal by Bryan Washington. The way that the day-to-day is able to be verbalized and written onto the page, I appreciate from Bryan Washington. So this book is set in Japan, and the main character, so we don't know the main character's name. The main character goes by Son, and then his mother goes by Mother. So his mother visits from Texas after she calls her son, and he sounds depressed in a way that's concerning. So she decides to fly from Texas to Japan to go check on her son, who she hasn't seen in years, because they have this falling out because of the way that Son, who is a gay man, the way that his sexuality was received in the household. He ends up excommunicating himself from not only his mother but also his brother. So we come to understand why their relationship is severed. And then also we learn about his mother, who is Jamaican, and how she ends up from Jamaica to Texas, because at first she goes from Jamaica to Canada, and from Canada she ends up in the United States. And we get just her story of how she ends up there and what she's been through. This is definitely a story about kinship, about found family, and the way that we hold space for people in our lives, and how there's so many different examples and different familial dynamics that are presented in the book, not just the mother and the son, but also he's in this, I don't know if it's a relationship, but he's sleeping with this man who is married, and at some point we meet the wife, and something about their dynamic was so, like, in an ideal world, that's what we think family is, or holding space for people is. It's like kind of accepting who they are and always being open to renegotiate and hold space for people. And hold space for people as long as they're willing to hold space for you, and you're willing to negotiate a kinship that kind of works for the both of you. There's also his friends that he makes while he's in Japan, and that was also very touching as well. The people, the other expats that he meets while in Japan, and like the kinship that they develop amongst each other. It was all very, I had to search what Palaver means, but if anything, this book was a really, to me, like a warm hug, or a very good look at the importance of holding space for people and what being in kinship with other people looks like. Okay, this one I got a lot of thoughts on. This is a thickie too. I read Joliet by Lyse. I don't know if this is my favorite from her. Did I eat this book up? Yes, I did. I still think For the Night is my favorite. This story follows Rich and Lovey. Lovey is in New York with her NFL playing fiance, and her fiance is abusive. And she's on the run. She runs away, and she goes to the only place she knows where to go is back home to Houston. Is it Houston? She goes back home to Texas. With her aunt, because her mother and father have passed away. And pretty much at home, she's picking up the pieces. And licking her wounds. Lovey was a lot. But also the way that the story ends and the way that Lovey moves is very understandable. I thought she was in her 20s. I think she's only 18. And Rich is 30. I don't really like an age gap. And also, I don't like, Lovey finds her strength through Rich, which I also kind of don't like. I don't like Lovey. I don't like Lovey. I understand Lovey. I don't like Lovey. You know, she kind of brings up how she wants to be, or how she wanted to be this designer, and how, you know, she used to design her own clothes. And it feels like her own dreams and aspirations just kind of get lost. It gets lost because she's so obsessed with Rich. She goes from following this other man in his NFL career, ditching her own dreams and aspirations, and then, you know, ending up in this terribly abusive relationship, isolating herself, losing her friends. And it doesn't seem like she ever had the most caring relationship with her aunt and uncle, which, I mean, that's a whole nother thing to work through. But the friendship that she loses never really gets remended. If anything, she just finds this friendship with Rich, who she also romantically wants to be involved with. And she just kind of escapes into the arms of another man and expects him to kind of like pour into her in a way that I don't think she ever really poured into herself. So he kind of pours into her, and she's just all like, because you poured into me, I'm going to, you know, stand up and be strong so I can be there for you, in a way that I don't know if she was ever really there for herself, which was frustrating. It was frustrating. I was all like, girl, push a little. If you like, I guess this relationship wasn't really worth mending. That relationship with her friend really kind of upset me, because I was just all like, there's no other platonic relationship that, apart from Rich, but Rich is not platonic. There's no platonic relationship that she really goes on a limb for, or she really like makes space for, which is crazy because, like I said, this book, Palaver, is literally about kinship, like this kinship and in the space that you hold for people, in a way that, apart from Rich, I don't know if she ever really held space for anyone else except for Rich. I mean, she also needed to hold some space for herself, and I don't know if she really holds that space for herself. It's like she is absorbed by him and she needs him in a way that's like, ooh, girl, this. And it was also like, ooh, because you literally just did this with a man who was abusive. It's like you never took a pause. You never took a pause to really hone in and hold space for yourself. And she just goes to the next man that's all like, I'll be the man that you can be that with me, because I'm not that man. Like, you can be obsessed with me because I'm the right man to be obsessed with. I'm not gonna lie. And also, I will say that because in the promotion of this book, they were using Trevante Rhodes, and I think this beautiful man. So I was just reading this saying, like, would I get caught up if Trevante Rhodes came to my door like this? Oh, this book took me through it. I'm still gonna give it a 4. It's still a 4 from you, but I'm still gonna be here for the next book. But I got so much to say about Loving Rich. And also, I just need to give out this random comment. The way this book is, Rich is definitely giving Fight Club, but also the way that Rich talked about being a man and how he was raised within the world of fighting. I'm like, is Rich an anarchist? Rich was giving me an anarchist. He was like, I don't abide by law and order, but like he still supports his community, you know? It was giving anarchy. Okay, and then last commentary, Fast. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook for this book finally came out. I think this book came out maybe in 2020. It came out a while ago, a couple of years ago. But Fast by Millie Belizaire. This was also a time. This book follows Caprice. It follows her for, I think, from the age of 8 up until she's 28, 29. So it follows her for like 2 decades. So the book starts in 1999, and Caprice moves in with her grandmother in Orlando from Alabama because her mother passes away. So she moves in with her grandmother, and literally within like maybe the first year or 2 years, she is being abused by her uncle. And it literally redefines her whole, like, who she is as a girl is completely redefined, and the trajectory of her life is completely changed from this abuse. And we follow how her navigating this. But in her navigating this, she meets Sean, the neighbor, and Sean is pretty much her childhood sweetheart. I loved Sean. I also really loved Caprice and how she's able to still find the strength to live, to follow through on her dreams and aspirations and live the life that she's wanted to live despite the trauma that she's been through, despite the abuse that she's been through. And I really like Caprice's character. I will say that the third act felt a little rushed. Maybe it could have been longer. I don't know. But the third act of them as adults reconnecting Sean and Caprice, it just felt really fast to me. Or I don't know. I felt like there was something missing between the childhood into the present moment. Maybe if we had maybe got a glimpse into their missed encounters a little bit more, it kind of jumps from like this very big moment that happens between them into the present, and then everything just kind of picks up. Like, there isn't this big gap. Like, it's just supposed to be like one small conversation that reconciles all that. And I think maybe there needs to be a little bit more in that between moment. But overall, yeah, I really like Fast. I know everybody has nothing but good things to say about Fast, and I'm also one of those people. And I'm probably going to read something else by Millie Belizaire. This was a good one. And that wraps up everything that I've read. Woo! Okay, and then the last bit, let's go into the present of what I'm currently reading, because that's overwhelming. So, what I'm currently reading, overwhelming. So first, the book club in July, the read is The Revelation of Dionne Daphne by Muharrar Akil. If you are not familiar with Muharrar Akil, she wrote Forever, Girlfriends, and Being Mary Jane. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Being Mary Jane. And yeah, I'm really excited to read. This is her first novel. I'm probably on page 8. I've just cracked into this book, so we'll see how far I can get. Okay, also this one I'm kind of halfway through. I'm reading Weyward by Emilia Hart. I'm reading this for another club at my job, and this one I think this is definitely made for a book club. There's a lot more to say in discussion than when I'm reading it. I don't think I catch everything that people bring up when we are actually together in book club. But this story, actually, sorry, let me go back. So The Revelation of Dionne Daphne, this is a book, I believe it's based in the 90s. And pretty much Dionne, it was dating this guy. They broke up. She has a hookup with another guy. In that hookup, the ex comes knocking at the door, and he was all like, I think you need to get tested because I'm positive for HIV. So now she's going through this whole spiral because she has to go, back to all of her past people that she slept with. So Weyward is a family saga. It's not really a family saga, but it is like this transgenerational story. Is Kate the present? But it's 3 generations of women in the family. There's the present. The main character is in this abusive relationship, and she goes back to her great aunt's house in Weyward that was left for her. Her great aunt has passed away, and then her great aunt, we get the perspective of her great aunt Violet, and then from Violet we get the perspective of a great grandmother who is being tried for being a witch, and this takes place in the UK. Okay, and then I'm currently I'm listening to the audiobook, because the third audiobook for Parachutes by Takerra Allen finally came out, so I'm listening to that on Hoopla. Thank you, Hoopla. So I'm listening to that. I don't know how I feel about the audiobook. I did get caught up. I'm already I think 20% in, and I just started the audiobook yesterday, so Next book, I know there's a lot of books I'm currently in the middle of. The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. And the Reformatory, if you're not familiar, it just is about, where is it set in? I think it's set in the 50s or the 40s. But this boy gets sent to a reformatory school in Florida, and the reformatory school is haunted with ghosts. So I'm also 20% into this book. I'm reading it digitally. This one is a longer one. I'm saying this one is a longer one, like I didn't read this book in like 2 days, but it's the same amount of pages. But this is a longer one. Also, it's in terms of the subject, it's a little bit heavier, so it's taking me a little bit longer to read. And then some arcs that, no matter what, I'm gonna have to finish by the beginning of August, so I can get the reviews in. Soft Spot by Leila Renee. That is a book that I'm going to get knocked out this month because I have to get the reviews done. This is also one of my anticipated reads for 2025. Then the other book I have is Take What You Can by Naima Coster. Believe they both published on the same day. I believe it's August 4th. So I'll get both books done before August 4th. These are the books that I have. Pray for me. I'm going to try to, there's like 4 that, well, actually there's 3 that I 100% need to get finished this month. So we'll see how I prioritize. Before I give my deuces, tell me what you all have been reading. Tell me if you have read any of the books that I've read or am going to read, and let me know your thoughts. And as always, we will continue our conversation in the comments. So until the next time, y'all, deuces.